Alright guys, we've been cooking with Misha and we have this new mana stacker Flay build up now on max roll. So very high DPS build as you saw there on the Uber kill. That was on the endgame planner gear, and this does need quite a bit of gear to get going. So like I wouldn't even play this build until you have like endgame planner stuff. So we don't have any like starter planner on this build. And I know the first question you're gonna ask is which one is better, Flay mana Lich or the Harvest Lich? So this one is way more like bossing damage, so way more single target DPS. It's still fast in maps, but it's a bit can be a bit clunky depending on how much mana you have. So you need to use Harvest manually for mana with the unique axe. So basically that's your way to get mana back. And the Harvest Flay Lich on the other hand is like very fast. It's just like much easier gameplay in maps, but the single target DPS is much lower, so it can't reach as much DPS as this one. But both are really good builds. So and this is the build I would choose for like Uber farming and stuff like that. So very easy fights. So the fight is about 1 minute there, I think, on the gameplay. So the idea on this build, you stack as much mana as possible, and there's this node here on the Flay tree. So you basically get Chaos Bolt procs per maximum mana. So 100 max mana is 1 proc, and with like 2k mana, so that's like 20 bolts per melee attack. And this node gives you also more damage for the triggered spells per maximum mana. So the mana scaling is pretty crazy, and this is of course uncapped, so you can just go and go with the scaling. And we're trying to get as much mana as possible, of course. This build is quite squishy though, like this setup here. You can still tank some things, but it's not like you're not gonna be like a face tanking machine. You do have a death seal, which helps, and of course double life with the Reaper. That's nice. And I also made like a tankier variant. If you feel like you want to be a bit tankier, sacrifice some DPS. So this is gonna have less mana, so it's not gonna have any mana idols, just full HP. Still does a lot of damage. But if you want to do like Uber farming and like super fast Uber stuff, just go for the DPS, like the main setup here. Which I think is the main purpose of the build, is kind of like DPSing. So other than that, this axe here must have. Many of these items are kind of like you kind of need them before you play the build, to be honest. So this axe basically gives Chaos Bolts like a portion of melee damage, applies a spell damage, and then you also get mana back with Harvest when you hit a boss or rare. So it's kind of like Void Well, but you need to use manually Harvest. And also gives you a buff, increased mana when you hit a boss or rare or you kill an enemy. So you get like Spirit Battery buff. And so that's quite a bit of increased mana from that as well. So you're gonna easily get like 2k mana or more on the endgame planner, and you're gonna be blasting with that for sure. Now the items itself, seed just for a bit of tankiness, so we have a lot of mana, high mana pool, and we can easily recover it with the Harvest. So this gives you quite a bit of free tankiness and also mana, so nice. These rings and gloves you need for crit chance, so I wouldn't play the build until you have at least the axe and the rings and gloves, and also 800 max mana at the minimum. So these are just for crit chance, also gives you increased mana, the Phantom Grips. So on the endgame planner we are 94.5%, so basically 94% crit chance, and you don't really need to go exactly 100%. For example, this chest affix here is pretty crazy on the increased damage. It can also get crit, but you get max crit easily anyways on the aspirational with the Shattered World, so missing like 5% crit or 6% crit is completely fine on the endgame. So with this one, of course, cap crit, and then you can also go for the Revenant Blade, So you can be a bit tankier with this, you can get more stats than on the Woven Flesh, and you still get your crit mitigation with armor, reduced crit affix here, and you seal T1 increased crit chance. I'm also going on the aspiration, I'm going for Erased Ring. So this is not required at all, it's just to show you can go for this. Most likely you will still go for the double Phantom Grip setup. But this is pretty decent extra defense, you know, with the ward, and then you can get technically 4 LP on that, but it's gonna be a Weaver's Wheel item, so it's gonna be random. And you kinda need every affix here if you want to cap your res, if you want to cap your endurance. So if you use like a 3 LP Phantom Grip, then you should be sealing the set affix. So this one you should be sealing the endurance here instead of the crit chance, because you still get max crit with the Phantom Grip, and then you do need the endurance, so you can seal like a T2, T3 for example, and you're gonna be capped on endurance that way as well. The dagger here is gonna be a bit hard to get for sure. So the T8 affix is like really impactful for this. So lots of damage from the T8 affix, and then a bunch of other stats. So I would try to get at least the T8. So of course use Rune of Evolution to get the T8 affix. So the new rune, that's gonna be guaranteed, of course, if it's one exalted T7 dagger. So use the Rune of Evolution and then get at least Armor Shred, because this is your only source of shred right now, unless you get it on the gloves. But you don't need to get every like crit multi attack speed and stuff. Would be nice, of course, but you don't really need it. Then the frailty is good for defense, and the base is quite important. So getting the crit chance and spell damage base makes a pretty big difference. The rune dagger. So this is gonna be maybe the hardest item to get on the endgame planner. And just Nihilist stats and mana, pretty usual stuff. Just mana from this relic gives you also resistances, right? So we're using the DPS belt here with the Frenzy on Flay use, and then also some flat spell damage. Of course you can also go for the Brewmaster belt like I do on the tanky variant. You could also just use Brewmaster here and still use the mana idols, that's also completely fine. But this is pretty nice for just like uber killing DPS. And the boots gives you a bunch of area for the Flay. We don't care about the flat melee damage at all. Yeah, so this is a full spell build with the Chaos Bolts, and also Marrow Shards proc as well. Also attack speed, movement speed. So just a good boot to have. Makes the build feel much better and fast and all that stuff. So yeah, like I said, we also proc Marrow Shards with this build. So you get the Chaos Bolts proc here, and then the Marrow Shards proc here. So this is just you crit with the melee attack and you proc Marrow Shard. That's quite a bit of single target DPS, this one. And also this applies, the multiplier here applies to the Marrow Shard as well. So this one, you just go for max damage on the Marrow Shards pretty much. All the multipliers you can possibly get, right? And we don't really care about the Bone Splitters at all. These don't even hit the boss, basically. So this is just for single target, and we don't care about this. And also we consume minions with the Marrow Shards. So basically the idea is that you use the Army of Skin boots. They spawn skeletons for you, and then you consume them with the Marrow Shards here. So you get this 100% multiplier quite often. You also spawn some minions from Harvest here with the Volatile Zombie node. So and that's pretty nice combo there with the skeletons. And on Harvest, so this is procced with Chaos Bolts, and you also want to use this manually. So manually for mana, so you have it on your bar, and it's still gonna be procced, even though it has a cooldown, it will proc still with Chaos Bolt node. So a bunch of buffs, basically, Shred, crit chance, crit multiplier, stuff like that. You can get haste here also, and then the basically 5% more damage, and also culling and the zombies. So a bunch of buffs from this, and then the mana back mechanic. On Chaos Bolt, it's just like maximize the damage, getting all the multipliers you can. So you need ignite chance from an idol. So we're using this idol here with ignite chance. So this solves that part of it. you proc harvest with this node here, so you want to have a bit of dexterity. So we have like 5 dex basically on the endgame planner, so that's gonna be enough because you're hitting a lot of times. So that's gonna be enough to proc harvest reliably, so you actually get max stacks on the necrotic shred. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the chaos bolts, I think. Getting some more damage here also from the basically cold conversion and then the chill node. And of course we basically do full necrotic damage. Like we don't really care about the actual damage type of the abilities, because this is just flat necrotic damage always, no matter what the tag is for the skills. We do still convert Flay to necrotic though for the belt, because this belt needs a necrotic or fire skill. So we do convert it, and we also get mark for death here, so we don't need to get it from the Reaper to mark. And on Flay, also getting the attack speed, pretty normal stuff, getting the spirit step distance, so makes it nicer for mapping. And on Reaper, I mean, it's like always you see on Reaper, just getting all the damage possible. And like I said, we don't need the mark, we have it already. And passives, so 10 points into Warlock to get the mana per int, because of course we are scaling a lot of int as well. And this node just for the dexterity, so we have enough dex for harvest proccing basically. So you're gonna have the basically 6 dex if you complete the campaign, all attributes a reward. If you have that, it's gonna be 6 dexterity. And otherwise just maxing out the damage with these nodes here, getting the low life node, pretty usual things. More damage with an axe, movement speed dagger, that's good. Spell damage, crit and stuff, multi stuff. And I think that's pretty much. I mean, we can check the tanky variant also. So this one is basically just more HP on this guy, sacrificing some quite a bit of mana actually. So dropping all the idols. So we usually go just full mana idols for maximum DPS. But on this one we just go full HP idols instead. And you can also go for the endurance enchant, and then you can go for the brewmaster with endurance. So this opens up the build a little bit, so we can go for the armor blessing instead of endurance blessing, for example. And also getting just HP on the ring and stuff like that. So it all adds up. And on the aspirational, it's actually quite tanky, going immortal vice instead of the blood mage. Gloves, of course, you could still go for this glove even on the regular one. Just don't use the erased ring and go for the immortal vice as well. But yeah, that's pretty much the build. So basically this like mana stacker, necrotic spell damage build, plays like a melee build, insane damage, just crazy damage, and pretty good mapping also. So have fun killing Ubers and stuff with this build, and I'll see you in the next one.